Welcome to Inside Food City Center, where Tennessee just beat Florida 64-44, get revenge after a blowout loss in Gainesville. Tennessee returns the favor here in Knoxville, and it's without Zakai Ziegler, and it's without Igor Milicic Jr. Two of your starters are gone, and somehow Tennessee still gets the job done. Noah, what was your biggest takeaway from the game?
Yeah, it felt like, this morning when we got up, you find out Zakai's not going to play, and that was going to make it, a little bit of a tougher hill for Tennessee to climb. And then Igor, who's coming off he was probably the brightest spot of that Kentucky loss, and then you find out right before tip-off he's not going to play. And it just kind of felt like what Tennessee was going to need to do to stay in this game was play really, really good defense, like they played against Auburn a week ago. They did that and more. I mean, it kind of felt like early. I'm not going to say that it felt like, Tennessee had it wrapped up in the first couple minutes, because it was kind of a back and forth game. Florida led most of that first half, but it just felt like, with the way Tennessee was just so suffocating, that Florida, it was going to be a long day for them. That Tennessee wasn't going to give up anything inside, and really just kind of maybe be a little bit more like the game in Gainesville, which Florida won by 30, but it was both teams didn't shoot well. I felt like it was maybe going to settle into something like that, and Florida never found it and never got in a rhythm offensively. I think their largest lead was 4. Their biggest run was 4. Tennessee just did what they wanted on the defensive end, and it translated on the offensive end. It didn't fix their shooting woes today, but I thought that they shot a lot better than they have in the last couple of weeks, and obviously hit some timely shots. And you can't say enough about what Josiah Mashak was able to do for you, and Jordan Gainey stepping up in Zakai Ziegler's absence. I thought it was a really complete effort from those guys, and probably, all things considered, Tennessee's best win this season.
Yeah, it was really impressive. I mean, that's a Florida team that comes in. They're number 3 in adjusted offensive efficiency on Ken Palm. The least they've scored all season in a single game was 70 points in a win over South Carolina, and Tennessee holds them to 44. So I think that says a lot, and it's without your SEC Defensive Player of the Year, Zakai Ziegler. Maybe Josiah Mashak began his campaign tonight to maybe steal it away from his teammate. I know some people have talked about trying to get that to be a joint award, but Josiah Mashak, once again, to me, proves why he's the best all-around defender in probably the country. Like, he's going out there and he's guarding just everyone on the floor, whether it's a forward and Alex Condon, and he's shutting him down and not letting him get any easy post touches, to Walter Clayton Jr. and the guards that Florida has. Josiah was just everywhere for Tennessee, and I thought that was really impressive. But in the post, too, Cade Phillips stepped up in a big way, I thought, for Tennessee, and he's been really good all season, but especially defensively there. He was an eraser, had 3 blocks, and then Felix Okpara did his job too. Rick Barnes noted kind of specifically in the second half, it felt like he settled in, but he finishes with 2 blocks and played his role as well. But just with that kind of cast of characters that Tennessee had out there today without Zakai Ziegler, who impressed you the most? Was it Josiah or was it someone else?
It's hard not to say Josiah because of what he does defensively. He's done it all year, and he's done it his whole career here in big games. You go back a few years ago with Brandon Miller, that Alabama game here, he had a really good performance. So he's been able to step up like that, and it's hard to say not him, but I thought Jordan Gainey played really well, handling that position and in places of Zakai. And Zakai's a guy that never comes off the floor. I don't know what his average is offhand, but, he's out there usually 38 minutes, 39 minutes a game. And so it was kind of interesting coming into this when you knew he was going to be out. How would Jordan Gainey be able to handle that kind of that cardio? And Rick Barnes talked about it. He said he was impressed with his toughness and being able to stay on the floor as long as he was able to. Hasn't had a lot of opportunities to do that in a game in his career here. So I thought he handled that really well. But you mentioned Cade Phillips. I mean, Felix Okpara gets those 2 fouls really quickly into the game, and then Cade Phillips, who's usually kind of that 1 or 2 guy off the bench anyway, he comes in and immediately makes a difference. I thought those 3 blocks were huge. That one sequence where if Tennessee's able to get 2 blocks in the first half, I thought that was really a game changer. They got the 2 blocks on that one Florida possession. Yeah. Cade was in on one of those, and it led to that transition 3 from Chaz Lanier to put Tennessee ahead for the first time. I thought he was massive. It's really hard to pick a guy. I mean, Josiah did what he usually does, and it's hard to pick against him. But I thought Cade Phillips and Jordan Gainey just did a phenomenal job with what they were able to do.
I think you also have to be happy with what Chaz Lanier gave you tonight
for sure.
Tennessee after kind of a rough patch for him, and and there was questions about if he'd be able to return to some of the form of what he looked like in out of conference. But I think the reality of Chaz Senior is probably somewhere in the middle, where it's not like a pushing 30 points per game score, but it's also not the rough stretch that we just saw leading into tonight. But I think tonight was a good example of what he can give Tennessee on a nightly basis, where he finishes with 19 points, with 19 points on 6 for 14 shooting, 5 for 9 from range. So pretty efficient night for him as well. He didn't kind of force the issue, and it was more on a possession by possession basis, like running the plays more for Jordan Gaines. But when he had his moments, when he had those transition threes that were open, when he did get his number called in action, he took advantage of it. And I thought that was a really big deal for him to see some of those shots go in, and for Tennessee's sake, hopefully kind of continue that as this SEC gauntlet continues to play out, because they're going to need him, especially when, maybe the other team's hitting more shots. Tennessee obviously only defensive effort, but sometimes shots are going to fall against you. And how do you respond to those situations? Are you able to kind of get your offense going, especially when it's a winner-go-home type of situation in March? That's when they're going to need a guy like Chaz Senior to take advantage of his opportunities like he did tonight. That'll do all from us here, though, today inside Food City Center. We'll have more coverage on this men's basketball team as they continue their season, but also the women's basketball team, Kim Caldwell and company, off of a loss, a 3-game losing streak for them, but 3 games that I don't think are the end of the world kind of situation. The narratives around both programs, Tennessee men's loses 2 in a row, one to Auburn and one to Kentucky, and it felt like the sky was falling, and the women's team loses 3 in a row, and just because of obviously completely different situations, first-year head coach and things like that, but a lot more optimism on that side. But we'll have coverage for them throughout the rest of their season. Football season around the corner, baseball season about 2 weeks away. Softball starts this weekend. Really everything Tennessee Athletics over at VolReport.com. Links to everything you need is in the description. Thank you for watching.